Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Captain Love Williamson, and I'm your Director of Personnel here at headquarters, along with Sergeant Joe Ramos.
Hello.
He's actually the boss in charge. But thank you for being here today. Actually, you guys are the first of this training. I mean, I have this concept in my head of having the CSS come up here and train with us, because when you send transactions to the FSS, it comes up here, and then we end up doing another step to the process. So hopefully by this training here, you get a infancy to final execution up here, especially when it goes down the hall to the tag. Tag, you guys know the acronyms. I don't have to explain acronyms. Okay, so up here at headquarters, we're like, if you understand the parallel to Pacific Air Force, PACAF, that's the MAGCOM for the active duty. So this is kind of considered the MAGCOM for the hang. So the wing is, the wing and the AOG are separate in that sense. So up here, I'm just going background for the airmen here. But the things that we deal with up here is appointments, selective retention, of course, famous Launa Ole. All 06 and above promotions happen up here. Lieutenant Colonel and below happen with Major Barry at the FSS. So that's kind of how we separate the administration and the personnel stuff between the wing, FSS, and us. So what we're going to go through here.
Oh, wow.
It's a touch screen.
That's the,
It's just kind of the flight plan, the admin plan, meet and greet, the timeline. So, and then Sergeant Ramos will go over the assignments, OPRs, officer promotions, sanctuary. Not, he'll address the enlisted side, but more so the officer items, because it's like a high vis and it goes outside of the state for promotions. It doesn't just stay internal. Like, did you know the airmen, NCO, even senior NCOs are all in-house. The only thing that goes outside would be the command chief, SEL. That's the only thing. Oh, and exceptional airman promotions, EPPs. But other than that, it's in-house in the state. So that's why we're gonna kind of focus on that. And then a jock visit, and then you guys have this well-trained day. Are there any questions right now?
I want to add a caveat to the job visit. I couldn't secure it, so we can use that time to do any extended training that we need to revisit any one of the subject matters, or we can move up the PT. Either way, we can work it.
Yeah, the Joint Operations Center.
I mean, I could take them there
To look.
and then with take you all one time. And
Is that the old counter drone?
Yeah.
in the tunnel.
Yes, in the
Yeah.
tunnel. Yes.
Or is it where you do all the tsunami evacuation? I mean the.
Yeah,
briefing
that's the guard one. It's not the civil defense
Oh.
one. It's the guard. So the equivalent jock would be the AOG in the Air Operations Center. You know, so I kind of want to show the parallel so you see where we fit in. So ops group, and you folks would be good to work with the AOG closely, because they have kind of the same AFSCs as far as your pilots and NAVs and things like that. So that would be a good team to work closely with. Yep. Next slide. Oh, the other way. Okay, so this is just some of the things I'm going to highlight on, and I'll send you the slides, but all of your transactions when it comes from the FSS, like reminders and PRFs, promotion recommendation forms for officers, the 06 boards, all of these things that happen up here make your lives easier if you can handle it with the lieutenants and the captains as they're going up. The more you take care of them, or you help them take care of themselves, the better they'll be prepared for the mandatory boards, also called ROTMAs. So I'm going to share with you the timeline and the battle rhythm, because when you know the battle rhythm of when these boards happen and how far out they're planned, it can help you guys in capturing when they should be finished with PME, when they should, their OPRs close out. All of those affect you folks. So that's why I'm just going to give you a caption of the timeline and why it just seems like, gosh, I'm always busy. Why? Because these timelines drive how busy you folks are. And around board time, that's when probably Jesse, you get like the most calls, PME stuff, I need an extension, blah, blah, blah. It's because of that. So, this battle rhythm timeline. Okay, next slide. Can you get out of this to
Click on that.
escape?
Oh.
Go back. And then go on here.
This one?
And double. Oh yeah, double tap. Double click there. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Let me just make it big. So I made this in two different ways, like a huge calendar that goes from January to December, and then this is more operator friendly. You know, this is how they like graphs. So I'm starting it off here with the I think I can do this right here, Joe. Yeah, with the FedRec board. So just remember, for the 06 boards, there are 2 boards every year, consisting of the fall and the spring board. So if you have all your lieutenant colonels who finish PME, this is what the generals, okay? You have Angry Birds, I call them, all the 06s in the room, the Angry Birds, and then you have the Hokus, the stars. So you have General Okahara, Sakai, and Colonel Hoffman in the room, deciding who's the next 06 for a certificate of eligibility. That's where they have 2 years to get promoted, or promotion vacancy, immediate promotion. So again, they've broken down into fall and spring. So knowing that the spring has passed already, the fall is coming up. So we can expect, Joe and I can expect a call coming out in March. So that's already, if you had an admin calendar up March, you have the drill schedule, and around that time we set up a ping for ourselves to look for this announcement that's coming out. The announcement will drive when the Angry Birds and the General meet, the rack and stack of future 06s, and then you see right here the CSS and the CCs working with the officer about to get promoted. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Sunshine.
It's about time.
Drop and give me 20.
I will, you want me to?
I'm glad you made it.
Oh,
Turn your guys' phones off for you guys,
Oh yes.
sorry.
please.
Sergeant Liebner and Sergeant Sampson, you're supposed to be here, but
Yeah, I already told you.
Oh, we got the
you guys got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just
Hot cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
top cover.
Oh, I like that.
Okay. So back to the boards really quick. So you see, in March is when the announcement, but you look at when the actual, so this, it's typically, the announcement comes out, and 120 days after that is when the actual board is. That's kind of typically, but the September is when the board. So March is the call, September is the board, and all in between that, you gotta make sure their OPRs are good. They have PME, civilian education. I mean, it's just a whole gamut, and Joe will go into the details of it, but you just kind of can see how every month is something different that's due, and they're broken up into parts. We have to get a board, a state FedRec board, so it's kind of it's a little stressful in that time, especially for the officer, when if they don't have their stuff together when they're lieutenants and captains, they have to close out OPRs now. So you look at the board and you see a lot of OPRs that have the same date that the people signed because they didn't take care of their stuff when they were lieutenants and captains. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. Now we have the, have you guys seen the PRFs? You guys should always be, at least get CC'd on the promotion recommendation forms. You don't have to review it because what are you going to look for? But PRFs are intended to get all the OPRs, and then you write it on an Air Force Form 709. So the entire career is smushed into 6 lines for their promotion. That's all you got. So you take the best bullets of your OPRs and you put it on your PRFs. I'll give you an example when I get back, and I can print some for you when Joe goes through this. But you can kind of see it's getting close to the closeout now because it's in March. So, oh wait, I'm on the wrong one. There we go. And you can see that you guys are very heavily involved in this process, or should be, because the member has to come to you to get their records updated. Basically, they're competing with all other officers in the whole Air Force and the National Guard. So that's what happens here. And then their board meets next month. And that takes another couple of months before they're actually notified, which also delays in the promotion process. Then, while we're planning this, we're going to get a note in November. So you've seen when the board is meeting September. We're already preparing for the November board to come out for the next series of 06s. So it's that battle rhythm drives why you guys are always so slammed with OPRs and PMEs and all of that, because it's cyclical. It just keeps going over and over. It's like the same date around the same time. So just keep these dates in mind when planning your overall how you're going to help the officer, because they need help. Unfortunately, they need help. And by helping them, it helps you folks. You can grab their bullets and then use it for your own, writing styles to help with your airmen when you have to write their ACAs. And then finally, this is the most recent here, the GO FedRec board. So we just have one candidate, Colonel Woodrow. He's being put up for 07. So I met the deadline. Actually, it's today. Today's the deadline. So I submitted yesterday and just waiting for NGB to review. But look, in January is when we had to make the decision, and it's May when we or March when we have to submit it. So it's a lot of planning and coordinating. Any questions so far?
Yes.
Yes.
So, where do you guys get the notification? Where is it coming from?
Yes, NGB A1PO to be exact. Major Sandy Smith and her office out there. But then, if we don't forward it to you folks for essay, you can always pull it from my PERS in the NGB slot, and you just look for. Maybe Joe can show you where in my PERS you can look for, and show officers where to look for themselves. A lot of times they don't even know it is PRDA. They don't even know virtual NPF. So I'm also trying to build a company grade officer team. Like you guys have an enlisted association, company grade officer, small kind of association. So it can help them prepare for their records and administration. Again, to help alleviate a lot of the stuff you guys have to go through.
Excuse me, ma'am, what is ROCMA stand?
Reserve officer management person.
Mandatory promotion,
ROPMA, reserve.
mandatory promotion, ROP. Reserve officer promotion, mandatory. I don't know what the A is. I'll get it.
I know.
Association.
Assessment.
I'll get it.
Okay.
It's a mandatory board. So Joe's gonna go through all
I'll show
of
you the
that.
reg, but you're gonna I expect
Yeah.
you guys to read your reg.
I should know what ROP,
I'm
but
gonna
I'll
say,
find
what is
out.
the ROP, Go look it up.
Go look it up.
No,
That's what this training, huh?
You see?
Yes.
That's what
It's not
this
just me
training
who
is.
says it.
I'll show you where to go get it. I'm not gonna spoon feed you. I'm not gonna give you the answers like
Trying to
you
walk
want.
it.
Can you at least give me the page though?
Yeah.
No,
Please.
it's an index file. That's what your,
With the keyword to search.
Exactly.
That is fine.
Control F. That's the
That's
best.
my favorite.
I just put Launa Ole in here because
get curriculum.
that's one of our. Again, you can help the commander in submitting. So it's broken down. January is when you were due, and then I start sending the things out in October. The reminders out to hey, get bullets. So you can see how October, Launa Ole, November is the FedRec board. January is when we're soliciting for the next candidate of 06s. At the same time, lieutenant colonel and major boards all going out all at the same time. So when you understand the battle rhythm of things, you can kind of plan when you're going to need more bodies and when you can lessen and do other things. So that's kind of the accordion effect that we feel up here. But it's more open than it is closed, yeah, Joe? Okay, and then last but not least, I put in selective retention. It's your commander tool to force management. And then here's kind of the breakdown of the dates to help your commander. The big deadline is 31 March, where he has to brief, or she has to brief all their members with 20 or more years of service. So we run that up here, and we set up the board. The board members are going to be from out of state this year, so something a little different, like to spice things up. But again, I'll send all of these things to you, which is why it drives the selective retention process, and why the timelines and kind of setting you up for this training today. But I really appreciate all of you folks here. Here's just some milestones for your force management. Again, I'll send this all to you, and the members are going to come to you if they are non-retained. It would be your guys' job to help them with their records. Of course, you don't have access to MilPDS and update in some items, so you'd have to direct them to the FSS for that. But knowing what to ask the FSS will help in helping the members. So, but we're always here if you need additional help.
Ma'am, what's the difference between selective retention and ETS? Is there a difference?
Yes. But read the reg. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
So just selective retention. No, selective retention is the tool that commanders can use if somebody has more. It's in that window, that 1 year window, where they have to force manage somebody out for whatever reason, and it's not disciplinary. It's for force management. So say they're double slotting or blocking somebody out. Selective retention is the tool a commander can use to have the member leave early from the Hawaii Air National Guard. ETS is the expiration time of service, and if that's in that window of a selective retention time frame, which is April through December 31st, the commander has a choice to extend them out past the deadline and then ETS them out. So like say your ETS is 30, let's go 1 September. That you're in the window for selective retention. So if the boss says, you know what, I'm gonna selectively retain you out because you're blocking, 5 people from getting promoted and it's just time, then they would extend you to the 31st of December, and then that's it.
Or 6 months, whichever is more.
Yes. And then an ETS is just the expiration time of service. The two don't relate, but the tool and mechanism for a commander to actually use the selective retention is found in somebody's ETS. So how I briefed the commanders is I said, I looked at the list and there was people with 20 years to 41 years of service. And we have people with 41 years of service in Hawaii Air National Guard. I was so humbled by that number. I mean, to me, that's our pupunas. That's our wisdom. That's people that have so much knowledge. You don't want to. I mean, I'm serious. Like, Joe has so much knowledge. If I could.
Grandpa.
Yeah, so you're proud. All you taught us.
This I have here.
It don't matter, at least my hair look good, eh? Watch when I think
I don't know about that.
Yeah, when he's clean cut, I notice.
Yeah, they like Robbo.
Close the door. Close the door. Have fun.
But yeah, I briefed it. I briefed it and said, like this is our pupunas, and if the commander sits down one-on-one and just says, thank you for your service, and it's time. I'm just gonna extend you for 1 more year, and then we can work on your retirement or something like that. But give them the dignity that they deserve, as opposed to, this is how I'm gonna get them out. I'm gonna get rid of them. This is not the mechanism to get rid of somebody. It's to actually finally have that conversation, which I don't believe commanders are having with their members. So, I mean, that's the decency to have a one-on-one conversation with your kapunas, as I identified them as. Because you guys have wisdom that I don't have, and I would love to.
Yeah, I've been
have
called
it.
wise ass.
Yeah.
That's wisdom, yeah.
Mhm. But that's the mindset I'm changing. Because why don't people use selective retention? Because they don't have the conversation. Why don't they have the conversation? Because they don't know how. So by using the tools that you folks already have in an alpha roster, or Joe's gonna teach you raw, you can have all that access to, here sir, this is how you can move people around so you don't have to get rid of this person, or you can promote this person. So, you know, it's you folks are the chess players of admin. I mean, you guys are the most powerful people. You think the pilots, okay, they fly, they go to war, but you guys, personnel is dangerous. I'm telling you. If you just know how to effectively work with people, if you don't like people, you cannot be a personalist. You gotta like people first, and then everything after that. You're good at that, Joel. That's why you have this training, because you're good at liking people. But thank you for having me. Are there any questions that I can answer right now?
SRRB.
Selective Retention, Retain Selective Retention Board. Selective Retention Review Board.
Read the ring. I will email them to you.
But yes, you're far from select. Yes.
You only have to do PRFs for only major and LTC promotions, right?
Yes. Or if you have a captain, you don't want to promote to major, then you need a PRF. And then you put name to not promote. Yes. And then for lieutenant colonel, for major to lieutenant colonel, the PRF, you need something called a roadmap.
Well, actually, all of PRS will mean roadmap.
Oh, now?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
It
So
should
they
have a
all-
roadmap because
You
you're
should.
quantifying how you got your bullet statements in a PRF based on what OPR period and what line of the OPR statement or block you're deriving it from. Because a PRF should be, okay, I'm looking at all these guys' OPR and I'm picking and choosing the impact lines from the OPRs that make substantial impact and putting that on the PRF. That's all you're doing is like, run it down, run it down.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter, it's the start of your OPR.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
decision.
And awards. So you can reference
And
awards
awards,
in the PRF. So if you have a really cool verbiage, you know, you can put it on the PRF, and then on your roadmap you have to put, you know, MSM, the date, and what line. That's
I'm
how
gonna go over
specific.
one roster. Basically, I'm gonna show you guys how you can track your officers coming up for promotion. And then you can use that as a management tool to key off on what you should be doing. Like, oh, I'm gonna do a records review and these guys look what OPRs he has to do in the next year. Because if he's like 2 or 3 years behind, you can start working on that ahead of time. By waiting for the timelines to come up, like your mandatory promotion or selective promotion list coming down and then reacting to it, you're already behind the power curve. Because now you're not helping the individual, you're actually just reacting. And now that's where the captain was saying, you're trying to do 3 OPRs and they all dated the same date. Because you're trying to play catch up too late, far away back here when you should have been doing it up here.
And
over time.
awards. To add on to that, awards.
And awards too.
So like,
Officers should get at least what, every 3
They
years?
should,
Minimum.
but you see, when we're looking at promotion vacancy packages, or even you know, when they're meeting their mandatory board, we look at the last award, and it was you know, either they don't
2000,
have, or it's like 10 years old, or it's like an outstanding unit. So it's you know, all of those things can help, and Joe will help you with pinging the commander. Just when you ping, they're gonna look, oh, write them, and you're like, that's not my job. You get to the supervisor using OPRs to write the guys and the girls medal. So that's how. Working up here, I you know, along with the core values, integrity, service, excellence, and service, I have 2 others, and then that's to live up to my name, of course, love. Yeah, I try. It's hard though, especially working in the government and with Joe, but
Oh,
you know,
wait,
Oh.
he tests me every day.
who amping over there?
Me, I amp a lot, but you know, 2 more things is I'll always leave it better than I find it, and I'll do more when it's asked. And I extend that to you too. That if you give me something, I'll definitely leave it better than I find it, and then I'll definitely do more when it's asked. So all you have to do is just call me, and I'll do my best to help. Any questions? Any more questions?
One minor question on RIPS.
Yes.
How come we always gotta go order a rip in Mil PDS and Sean Cardenas has to give us
What rip are you talking about?
The
Any
OPR
kind of- any-
notification,
any kind of
Oh, you mean like the shell?
yeah. No, just
not the shell
rip.
itself. but-
So rip surf, rip.
Decor 6,
No, just,
records review rip.
yeah. I mean, the can get it from
It's a
BTCPR.
system problem that.
But
yeah.
you know, traditional members, they cannot. You know, they're not always at drill or something happens.
It's the same thing. Full time or
How can we as people that are personnel or administrative have
Yeah.
can just pull it out ourselves?
Well,
The PCM can build something which she's learning, because on the active duty side, when I worked over there, their PCM, it was,
PSM.
PSM, thank you, was automatically driven. So when you request something in MilPDS, the system knows to grab that transaction and stick it into a folder, and then you pull it yourself. We're not there yet, but it's a system problem for MilPDS.
Yeah.
But if you want something instant on a person's record, you can pull a surf. Surf
yeah, I always
is
do a surf.
Yeah.
So surf, so surf.
A half surf.
surf. Yeah,
Okay.
you pull
Because
a
a half surf
surf.
is just as good. It's just that it's not something like you can easily read like the regular record review. It'll have headers and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
record review.
The surf is just data, but it's you can easily compare it to a record review, and it's
Okay.
easy.
Okay.
And that's is immediate because the surf is actually real time.
Okay.
You know? So get a surf. Just get the main one.
Okay. So surf just as
Surf
good.
just as good.
Surf
Surf.
just as good. So, but you'll need sometimes when you're submitting packages, full records review RIP, which you'll need Charlene, or the member's virtual MPF, which is, go ahead.
You guys are saying surf is sufficient for the, sorry, I missed it.
Oh, if you wanted a snapshot of something, if you need information on the person's date of birth or something that you can't grab from an alpha roster or something, or raw, you can pull it from a surf.
But it
Sure.
was
It's
like
easier.
sufficient for when you gotta do the
Promotion.
promotion package.
No, you usually need a RIP,
Rip.
The whole
RIP
thing.
and
I
or.
don't know. I mean,
Rip record review.
personally, in my opinion, that surf is just as good. I don't know why they would go. Well, I need a rip.
So I got so if I
You
can,
know how to read it.
so if the commander asks for something,
P cards, right, and auto planes, and then some surf.
You can do the same thing from
Yeah.
surf.
What surf has them?
Be full of points.
P-card surf,
yeah,
Yeah.
P-card, yeah.
P-cards, yeah, P-cards you can get it.
You run that, turn around, run that one.
But just the surf itself, does it have the P cards on it?
No,
See,
you have
and
to
the
do
RIP
it
does.
specific.
So that's the difference
You
between
know,
the two.
but then that's a mindset, right? It's like flexibility, but
And yeah, it depends on what you're what you're getting asked
Yeah.
to fulfill.
Because I gave the
otherwise the individual can pull their own records review from virtual.
yeah, and but
So
then
instead of
always
going to Cardenas, just say, dude, just give me your record review from virtual.
Sometimes like their tradition or that school and
Yeah.
that school for them.